Forget about DC and Marvel, guys, because now it's all about the Sega Genesis cinematic universe. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Mid-Level Media, guys, and I'm here today for my review of Sonic the Hedgehog, a movie that is crushing the box office right now, setting all kinds of records in the month of February. I think it's one of the highest grossing movies. It made $57 million this past weekend, but we're not here to talk about the box office. Let's talk about the movie. So, the summary of the film is basically Sonic is in his home world, which kind of looks like the Sega Genesis land, the world that you play in the video games, and he gets somehow transported to Earth, and he causes a power outage in the town of Green Hills, and it kind of attracts the attention of the kind of evil Jim Carrey version of Dr. Robotnik, and that's pretty much what the movie is. So let's go ahead and get into it. But before we do, I'm going to ask you, please, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe down below. Go ahead and click that button, subscribe to my channel for more great reviews. I do Blu-ray unboxings weekly. I'm going to try to do more new release reviews as we go along. And also go ahead and subscribe, become a subscriber of the Mid-Level Media channel, and you'll be glad that you did. And I'm also going to ask that you please just drop me a like down below. Just real quick. Just go ahead and no, don't do that dislike button. Do the like button. Go ahead and pop that real quick, and we'll move on about our business. We'll get on with the review. And go ahead and leave me a comment below if you saw Sonic. What were your thoughts on it? What did you think? Did it meet all of your expectations from your entire childhood of playing Sonic and Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles? Was it the greatest theater-going experience that you've had all year? Comment down below and let me know. And let's talk about it, guys. Let's get into this. So, like I said, I saw Sonic last Friday night, and I'm going to tell you something. The theater was packed, and I don't know if it was just my hometown or the place that I saw it in. People were cheering and screaming for this movie. I have not had a theater-going experience like this since I saw Endgame last year. It felt like the last 30 minutes of Endgame, the entire movie. So, I don't know what it is about Sonic that elicited that kind of reaction, but it was incredible energy in that theater. The only thing is I just wish I liked the movie more. and I'm going to be honest, when I reviewed this last Friday night, right after I saw it on my Instagram page, at Mid-Level Movie Reviews, give me a follow over there if you haven't already. But I reviewed it on there, and I wasn't kind to this movie. I didn't think it was a good movie. Yeah, I was entertained by parts of it. I was. But overall, I just did not think it was as good as it could have been. And that's kind of difficult to say because it's a Sonic movie. Like, how good could a Sonic movie actually be? Well, I didn't love Detective Pikachu that came out last year, but I thought that was a good movie. It was a solid movie. So when you judge it compared to that, Detective Pikachu versus this, and I'm a Sonic fan. I'm not a Pokemon fan at all. But I didn't think that the performances were that good. I didn't think the characters were as fleshed out as they could have been. I thought that Sonic himself, played by Ben Schwartz, I thought that character was really good. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. I was kind of hard on the fact that they changed the appearance based on fan backlash. But after seeing what this movie is going to make, almost $60 million, and just seeing the actual movie, I think they definitely made the right call going in there and fixing it. And just to give you kind of my background with Sonic, I played Sonic a lot when I was a kid, but it was mostly through my friends, and my aunt had the game. She had the Sega Genesis. When I was a kid, guys, and this may be hard to believe, but back in the day when you had the Super Nintendo and you had the Sega Genesis, and you either had one or the other, you didn't have both. If you had both, then you were a well-off kid, borderline rich. I grew up, I owned a Super Nintendo. I played Super Mario World. I played Zelda. That was my main line of games. But I did love Sonic, and it made Sonic more special because it felt like an event thing every time I got to play it. So those games were awesome. But, being a Sonic fan of the games doesn't necessarily mean that I was clamoring to see a movie. And it just wasn't great. So Jim Carrey, who I was really looking forward to seeing perform in this movie, kind of being back in this more comedic role after years of being in more type thriller, more serious types of movies. I saw a movie his a couple years ago, Dark Crimes. It was like my lowest reviewed movie. I gave that movie like a 2.5. It was awful. So it was very refreshing to see him in this kind of role again. And it was just such a disappointment because he wasn't funny. And Jim Carrey's known for being kind of the master of improv. Like that's his thing. That's what he does. And it felt like every line he delivered in this movie felt like it was written for him. And that's not what you do to Jim Carrey. You do not neuter him like that. You let him run wild. And it felt like somebody's written idea of what Jim Carrey would say and not what Jim Carrey himself would actually say in these moments. And I just feel like if they would have let him cut loose a little bit more and have a little bit more fun with the material, that would have came off much better. So I didn't love the Jim Carrey performance. And to be honest, every other human character in this movie, James Marsden included, I thought was awful. I thought their performances were awful. I thought the dialogue, the way they were written, was awful. All the human characters, they just felt very cheesy. It felt like something you would see on a Disney Channel original movie, and it just not in a good way. It just wasn't good. And it just felt like the same thing over and over again. And I really enjoyed the last 20 minutes of the film. Because I thought that's when it kind of picked up and there was some action. And I love the sequence of, I'm not trying to spoil things, but I love the sequence of Sonic just running and they're going through different like environments and stuff, and they end up in the Great Wall of China, and he's just like sprinting through the Great Wall of China. All that stuff when he's running from Robotnik at the end, I thought was great. Like that felt like, to me, what the entire film should have been. And this may be controversial if you did like the movie, but I think they should have went more animated with this movie. I felt like more of it should have took place in his actual environment before he got transported to the real world. Like that famous iconic character getting transported to the real world and seeing how he interacts with the real world people, that seems so like 90s, early 2000s. That's like something they would do way back in the day with these game characters, and I feel like that's kind of played out, and maybe they should have just kept it in his environment and had a story there. Kind of like Detective Pikachu, because yes, that was a real world type place, but it was rooted in realism, but it was also the Pokemon world. Like that's what it was. So maybe if you want to have human characters, if you're dead set on having human characters, then set it in the Green Hill Zone, like his actual video game world, and just have human characters there. And I hope that that's the direction they go in with the sequel, because there's going to be a sequel. Definitely, this movie has made too much money for there not to be. So hopefully it takes place a little bit more in his environment. And I think that, judging by some of the end credit scenes, you see Jim Carrey kind of going full Eggman Robotnik. He's got the beard and he's in the mushroom world. All that stuff's really cool. And I just wanted more of that in this movie. Most of the movie just felt very flat and bland, and I don't care about those human characters and stuff. I care about Sonic. I care about Robotnik. Like, that's why I come to see it. I don't care about James Marsden and his ridiculous relationship with his wife and her sister that hates him for some reason, and it's just ridiculous. Like, the movie didn't need any of that. It was just such like forced comedy, and it got a lot of laughs in the theater, so I know I'm in the minority, and you may have loved it as well, but it all felt so B-level, so cheesy. I didn't like any of it. So that's my thoughts on the movie Sonic, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end this review right now, and I'm going to ask you all again, please subscribe to my channel. Comment below. Do you disagree? Did you really like the film? Do you agree with me? Leave me some thoughts down below. Drop me a like. Subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you next time.